Hello, welcome to Washboard Gym at your beck and call. Give a few more minutes and I'm going to start the video. Hope everybody's doing good today. Got a big show up here so far. We're going to go over some stocks of your choice, and I'm going to run through this little video of the kind of new style of trading that I'm into right now. I've got many, as you all know. I'm a pretty well-rounded trader. I've worked in over 17 years and practice. I'm not the novice God-sent trader, but I can hold my own, as you can tell. And we're going to start off with this here little intro of kind of how I trade and what I'm into for the next 4 months. Hello retail traders. I want to give a little small description of my trading style, and I have many, but I'm working here lately on the sneaky snake swing and scalping trade. Swing, try to get it up to about 3 to 6 months, and scalping off the sneaky snake also. And it is a moving average extended trend line trend method, as in trend line patterns. Hit that like button. When I called out Tesla, for example, last month, I talked about the ascending triangle breakout into the Darvas box. I also talked about this is the ascending triangle right here. This is the Darvas box, and inside the Darvas box was the 3 black crows, and we also was bouncing off the 200 SMA. So I'm able to get in here, and these are extended trend lines that I'll use over and over and over again. And we got another Darvas box, for example, working on up here. So I just keep adding these patterns, and that's how I become a trend trader. So I'm trading in the trend, and I'm trading in the trend of the market, like being in the now. So we've got a Darvas box here, and we had a breakout of a Darvas box here, and we had the ascending triangle bouncing off the 200 SMA on a triple bottom, 3 black crows. So I'm spotting these different patterns, and I'm getting in on the sneaky snake with the moving averages. So I lumped this all up together and created what you call the sneaky snake trading strategy. And I got the sneaky snake part because seems like these moving averages trading around strategy, kind of like a snake. They sneak around on you, and if you're able to identify the patterns, you can become a pretty good trader. Like here, we had a little death wish, and now we're creating a golden cross. That's when the 50 either crosses down or crosses up over the 200. Now if this 50 crosses this 200, we're getting ready to have an explosion breakout. So that's just part of the sneaky snake strategy, is trying to get in before others and identifying patterns and trends that can get you into them trades. I'm one not to chase, but I can chase a stock. I can play the 52 breakouts, I can play the 52-week lows, I can play the crossovers. I've got so many different methods that I'm going to be sharing that I have been sharing this live on YouTube for over 2 months now. And each week I come out with a different case study. We went from, and this has all been done live at open to the closing of the bell every day. Now I'm getting in here pre-market. At least I got the scanner up. You can see what's moving and what's not moving. But this is part of what I'm trying to share. I'm just sharing my extended trend line method along with the trend trader and the sneaky snake crossovers. And that's with the different moving averages. So if you have time, sit in, watch me here on YouTube live. I'm going to be doing this for a couple more months, then I'm going to decide what's next. But for right now, I'm just sharing my strategy, one of many strategies, and I hope you all can benefit from this. But this trend trading is really starting to take off, and I'm starting to come up with new strategies as I go through the end of the year. And then I'll decide what I want to do next. But I wish everybody a great day. Follow me on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. You'll get my notifications for my little small videos I do, and they're great to watch. Every video I do is a learning experience. So everybody have a great day. See you later, retail traders. Alrighty. Retail traders, there's my website. Or not my website, but my YouTube channel. I got a Twitter link there, and also have a StockTwits link. So if you're subscribed to them, go ahead and hit them when you get a chance. Be sure to ring that bell and you'll be notified of future updates. But today we're just going to kind of go over stocks of your choice, and nothing really involved, just kind of show a little bit of my sneaky snake technique. And we'll go on from there. Do one thing right here. Make sure I got my chart up. That's not that one. That'll work. So this is my TTM trend chart, where I have my Fibonacci hookups. Also, there's a link down there at the bottom where it says TTM Fib chart. You can link up to that. It has my moving averages on here that I use when I'm in the sneaky snake. And I just like using this chart. It's colorful, kind of tells me, the TTM, which trends are going. We're in a green trend or a red trend. And then, I've been trading this chart for over probably about 10 years now. And the automatic Fibonacci, I think I've been doing it for a couple years on here. But this is a unique chart. That Fibonacci's it's been programmed, so it's not something you can find real easy. So that link's right down there for you. Let me do one more thing here and I'll be right with you. There I am. All right. Hello, Paul, Kevin. We got a full crowd in here today, 5 of us. So this is going to be, I'm going to just go through stocks of your choice, and we'll see how long this takes us. I'm going to be doing a video every night this coming week of 5 stocks of my choice, and I'll bring them out here a little bit later in the afternoon, do a little video on them, and then I'm going to keep doing them over and over again for every night for 5 days and try to get a trade out of each one of them 5. So maybe today when we're piling up in here and you're giving me alerts, I can go some of these tickers, I might add one of them to it. Who knows, I always like to try to come in here with a positive attitude. And I think that makes a big difference too when you wake up with a smile, and go to bed with a smile. So feel free to put a ticker in here of your choosing. You're going to kind of see how my style of trading. I'm going to take your ticker and show you maybe different ways of trading it. Maybe what the best opportunity and the best support would be. And we're going to look at the yearly, we're going to look at the 20-day 1 hour, and we're going to look at the daily 1 minute. And then maybe I might throw another couple different time frames in there. But those are the 3 time frames I use to try to find a pivot point. And what I mean by pivot point, I was here last Sunday and we talked about that. So, Kevin, we're going to knock out Twitter right now. Well, let's Twitter. Let's get it started with you, and then I'll do a couple of mine. And Twitter, I think's one of them stocks that has a good run, and it had a surprisingly good run here, better than I expected. And then we've had a nice little pullback. So as you can tell, I've already got this thing charted up and I'm in the trade. So I've got this is called an extended trend line method. And this is Twitter. And right now we're in the buy zone. So we're going to pull up the yearly chart, and I'll show you why we're in the buy zone. I like to pull up that yearly chart first. As you can tell, we can go a little bit lower on this stock, don't take me wrong. But in this time frame right here, we're at a triple bottom. And we kind of just broke down a little bit, and we're holding up that support pretty well here at the bottom. So this is like my step 1. Now, if I look at the yearly chart and I say, oh, we might have one more pullback to go to, I would even bring it down lower to down here, but I like this gap. See, we're kind of inside of a gap. And we pulled down in that gap and hit right here once before. And I surely don't want to see this stock down here. It depends on the market conditions. But if this stock pulls down to right around 59.94, that'll be a wonderful opportunity to take this trade. I got 2 reasons, maybe 3 reasons why. One, because we'll be at the bottom of the gap. 2, we've pulled back here once before. We consolidated here. And then we have 3, we have that 200 SMA. So right around 60 bucks, is a real solid place to maybe take the trade if it doesn't hold this 64.29 support. We've got 3 beautiful little run right here. And Twitter has a mind of its own. I mean, it can, and I think it's a tradable stock right now. But let me see here. Right there's your other support level right there. Right here off these 3 candles. And I'm drawing a little trend line right in here, just kind of find low supports, just in case it pulls back. I like that one better. So we're going to magnify this up a little bit. But my trading strategy with the sneaky snake trade strategy that I have here, that option, is to buy it at the loading zone, which I'm thinking is going to be right here, take it to the consolidation area, and then sell it at resistance. We'll pull this up on the 20-day. You get a better vision of it. So I've got a real solid support right here at 64.29. If that doesn't hold, we have a good possibility of taking this down to that solid support that I showed you on the year, right here at 60 bucks. That would be a real good spot to get in the trade if you wanted to go long. When you get in a trade. Now hold on a second, Paul. I'll see what you got. I didn't quite understand that. When you get in a trade, what do you mean? If I was to get in the trade, I'd have patience and I'd wait for this $60 level. But I'm going to be looking at it Monday, and if we start to go up, we start to see some positive momentum or a sharp little sell-off and a reversal, I'd scalp it. But I don't think I'd swing it yet. I don't think I'd be ready to swing it, but we are consolidating. We do have a nice little inside candle right here that's kind of held support. We just got to break this one little trend line right here and break that 50 on the daily candle, and that'll be a resistance to break on up. But for right now, it's going to be a pretty solid resistance because we got the 9 coming down here and the 21 on the day. So let's bring it to the 1 minute daily. Like I said, that was a pretty good little spot down there that I've charted up. Let me look at my trade here. I'm in Twitter, right? Man, I gotta get a drink. Oh, that feels better. TWTR. Right now, I'm a little down on this stock. I'm at the 115 calls, and I bought another one, and I think I'm right about almost up to 105. And right now the thing's at 94. So I might add on to it. I've got, till September to take this to get out of the trade. So I'm thinking I'm down here at a support level. We're going to find out come Monday and start to reverse back up. I do want to take it up here between 68 and 73 when I get ready to get out of the trade. And if it pulls back, I'll definitely add on to it. So I'm feeling good about this, but I think we need to consolidate a little bit, and then she'll start moving up a little bit. I'm kind of iffy about the market conditions right now. I don't know how you feel about it, but I didn't feel too good Friday about the market conditions. The 200 SMA on Twitter is around $59. Yep, $60. It's a little above it, $59.32. Exactly. That's right, Shane Dog. I think that 200 is a good spot. And I sure do. So the next one we're going to look at is going to be, we got Twitter out of the way, Paul, and we're going to look at PATH. P-A-T-H. Looks to me like it ain't been out that long. Looks like a new IPO here. We're definitely at the bottom. Kathy Woods purchases Wednesday. Looks to me like she got some PATH here, so she likes the trade. That's one little bit of news. Kathy Woods sells, okay. There's not much other news on this. UPath announces fiscal second quarter results. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There's nothing in there about the results. I just got to check it out real fast before I can give you a good, because I'm not familiar with the stock. French supplies just being. It sounds like they know what they're doing here. Okay. Well, we're definitely keeping above the 21 right now. I think this thing can pull back to right about in the 59, 57 area and find some support. Right about in there, and then try to break resistance right at the 50. So there's your little, spread between 59.50 and 65.40. If it breaks that 50, we can definitely start to top up at this next resistance level, and that's going to be right in here at 68.32. So I can kind of see it pulling back just a little bit to this support level right around 59.50 or 60 and take the trade and definitely run it up to break this 21 and get it past that, get it up to that 65 area. We're building a Darvis box. This is what's unique about this trade right now. For the last little while, it's kind of found some some resistance, and I found a support area right in this Darvis box. And what I like about it, there's a little pivot point inside of that. Let me cut this back a little bit. So I talk about these Darvis boxes a lot. I played these channels quite a bit. And right in between it, there's a little pivot point, and that's where we lie right now. This is on path. So this is kind of how I play it. If it holds this pivot point area at 62.37, we'll definitely get it up here to break that double top up here, triple top, and maybe break that resistance and get it to 68. If it doesn't hold that support, your strong buy is going to be at 59, and then take it to 65.40. That's how I kind of look at that. I think it needs to consolidate for a while and then break out. So you got to play it inside that Darvis box. That's how I'd play it. It's definitely, if it pulls back to the 59.60 area, 59 or 60, that's where I'd take the trade and run it up to the pivot point and then try to break resistance at 65.40. UPath. Hello, Mike. XELO. I'm sure that's what you typed in there. Oh, XELA. Okay. Technology's named hot vendor and every research 12 in technology expands relationship with large healthcare members. Okay, we're involved in healthcare here. Alexa. Technology sees revenue of 1.25 billion. They were down a little bit. Oh no, let me see. Second quarter revenue, 293 million. And second quarter losses, 33 cents a share. Some of them already come out. So they just had earnings. Yeah, this is going to pull back. I can see it easily pulling back to a double bottom right here, right around 226. Let me clear this up. It's nice, really a nice looking chart in a way. There's a little pivot point. I'm looking for the pivot point in here. I want to start with a pivot point, and I'm kind of seeing that right here. And we did pull back to that pivot point area, as I just noticed. From here, you know, it's pretty equilibrium to a pivot point. You got that high right here, then you got that touch right here. So that's going to be your pivot point. We're going to draw that in right here. That to me is going to be your solid support. I want to see it. Oh, well, you've got to get in there first. I want to see it hold that 222 area. This 200 SMA will push that up and give it a solid support. It's bounced off this 200 a couple of times. We went down below it. I can see it touching it again. I can see it touching it again for a strong buy. If you get it, look what happens when we touch that. Pretty nice little spike. We broke out of that 200 right here. Nice little spike. And then we held, you know, support. I like that. So to me, this 200 is going to be a very strong buy. And that's the 200 on the daily. And that's going to be right around $2. And that thing will rise up a little bit and a little bit. As the two, we had a golden cross right here. So and this is a really nice looking pattern, because you know when the stock sells off and they have like a pullback, they usually pull back to a good support level, and that support level was the pivot point, and it bounced right off of it. So I think we could get a higher low, bounce off this 50, and then take it up and try to break this resistance level at 336, 337. If you can bust past that, you'll be able to take it higher. But I would look for the pullback to the 50 on the daily, and then take it to trade and run it up to 337. You'll have some resistance right here, right around the 294 area. I can see that right in here, big time. See where we topped right in here on this candle, then where we touched down right in here. So that's pretty solid. Another pivot point in that little channel right there. And here we go again, talking about that Darvis box. You know, the sideways channels are fun to trade. You don't need to be scared. I talked about this a lot last Sunday on that 2-hour session about playing these channels. I mean, you can make some good money in here and not try to go to the moon with it. You don't want to try to do that. You just, here, I'm going to see if my picture's a little bit too big. I think it is. Let me change this here. That looks a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. Got a big head. I got a real big head. But here you go. You know, you got the Darvis box again. These are real fun channels to play. I don't consider myself a master, but I've been trading this box forever and just didn't know what it was called. But I've taken many trades inside the box itself. And you got that pivot point right here inside of it. Let me go ahead and color that in. So these are always like hard resistance to break at 337. And if you're able to do that, you can take it up here to right around 377. Damn it. Yep, I like that. So pull back to the 50, right around 242 to hold. Strong buy right a little above $2. And then take it to 337 and hope that it breaks resistance. But that 294 is going to be your pivot point area. And that's XELA. Okay, Shane Dog, BLRX. Let's take a look at it. You like this stock? Or are you in this stock, or what you looking at here? This is a pretty nice little chart too. You can tell I charted this a couple years ago. Let me remove all this mumble jumble. Start fresh. I want to go back to the 3-year and just have a little look at it. See, I like going back a little farther also, and this is called the 3-year weekly. You know, when I see a bullish chart, I like to look at that 3-year 200 and just see where it is and kind of get a glimpse of maybe some highs that we've had before, or if it's coming from an uptrend. So we're definitely coming from a downtrend going up, and I do like this motion here that we've had in 2020, and we're going to look at 2021. So let's go ahead and look at the yearly. The pivot point on this chart right here is going to be right in here. We've had these highs, and then we've had these consistent support levels at the lows. That, you know, it's triple right in here. So that's where we're going to put that line. I always like to go to that pivot point. That pivot point's a leading indicator on the yearly, daily of a solid support or maybe a resistance. It'll tell you if it's in a bullish mode or if it's in a bearish mode, if it's under that pivot point area. So we're going to draw that in here. I got to extend this out to the right and change this. This ain't suiting me right now. So that's kind of like a pivot point. Then you got a low support, and that's going to be right down in here, right at 240. So I'm going to jot that in there. I see the consistency of, damn, Jim, didn't you? Now she'll stay. Right there at that 238 area where we've pulled back. I like to see that consistency. And then you can tell that the 200 has been moving up, applying pressure. to the stock itself, and we're starting to squeeze into that 200. So I think that 200 is a real solid support level on the yearly. That's what I'm thinking right now. So resistance level, that if you were looking for a resistance, it would be up in here. It would be up right around 331. That would be your resistance to break, but then you've got another one right here, so we're going to draw a trend line here. Then we're going to draw another one right there, and another one right there. And those are your three resistance levels. We touched here, we touched here, then we touched here, and we've touched here. So that's pretty hardcore, solid resistance. I can see it touching. We do have a kind of a little indication that we could be pulling back one more step. But if it holds this 200, which I think it will, we can rise up, and the resistance to break is going to be that 333 and that 360 area. If it breaks the 360, you'll be able to run it up here at least to 385 and maybe take some news, but up there at 410. I like this BLRX. I think it's poised to hit that 200 and bounce up and try to break that 333. If it breaks to 333, 360, and then 385. So that's one to keep on watch. I'm gonna write these down. Twitter. And we did V. I missed V. XELA and BLRX. Okay. Visa, the V. Visa's having a pullback. I think the banks and interest rates, but I ain't worried about that. I hear people are paying off their debt a little bit with the COVID thing going on, using some of their checks to pay off debt, which I think is a pretty good idea. But we got a solid support right here at a double bottom. You see what I'm talking about? Right in here in these candles. Right there. We got this little support level right here. We got that resistance level right here. And we got that support level right here. This is what I call a pretty good pivot point in this pattern right here. I mean, between here and here would be the pivot point, and that runs right into that 220 area. Can this thing go down that far? I'm not for sure. It depends on the market conditions, but I sure can see it pulling down to this support level right here and creating a solid rebound back up to 234. So I'm definitely liking this area right in here. I'm going to draw a trend line in there. Right there. Right around 230. 229.24. That's what you want to hold. If not, she'll pull back down here to 226.59 and find a support. The last 2 days it's held up pretty good here. I like that. We do have the sneaky snake sell-off, but you know, it's gradual. This one here did pass the 50, which gives me a little bit of concern. But as long as that 21 stays above the 50, I think you'll be okay in this trade. I cannot see it going down here to 220 unless something drastic happened, but that would be a very strong buy. I mean, I'd load the boat at that number at 220. But I think we'll consolidate to the right for now, hit 230 and start to bounce back up and break 234.91 as a resistance, and then she'll run up here to the next one, and that's right at 238. So I don't know if I'd made that clear. Strong buy if it does touch the 200, but also I think we're just going to pull back a little bit here right around the 230 if it does, and rebound back up to 235 and then 238. That's going to be Visa. BLRX, when you get in a trade, when do you get into the Twitter trade? Did you see what I said? When did I get into it? I got into it the other day. right here. I got into it right in here. It was probably up a little bit higher because I thought it was breaking out past this trend line. So, you know, I'm not in it too far down. About 60 cents. Thought it was going to break this trend line. And it didn't. It just closed down below it. So Twitter, you know, I like this candle right here. If we can build another candle above this one, the body the next day, if the body closes above this one here, we're definitely going to go back up and hit that 21. Get it into the consolidated area. But right now I'm in the buy zone. Anything below it I'm adding on. And I got a month. Hello, June. What's your average on Twitter? It's 105. I got 2 contracts. Let me see here. Kind of got lost on my I'm reading. Path is making higher lows. Take a look at that. Yes, when a stock makes higher lows, that's a positive thing for sure, especially on the day. Getting very tight. I have a Darvis box on TradingView. If it breaks up or down that box, it's a buy. If it's a buy if it breaks down to the bottom of that box. Just because, as long as it stays in that box, Shane, it's still bullish. If it breaks below it, sometimes I use that bottom of that box as a resistance level. You know, let's say this is the box, and you're trading it. If you see like a pattern forming, let me find one here. I got a good one. Good example. This is the box that I was talking about when I got into Tesla. And I always try to recognize patterns. Sometimes they're pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious with Tesla, but then you got your higher lows, right? Usually when you have them higher lows, like you mentioned earlier, you can have a pretty nice little breakout. When you have higher lows and you have that top of that Darvis box going, that's what you call an ascending triangle inside of the Darvis box. So that's a breakout. Same thing with Tesla right now. You've got the higher lows. You know, Tesla could be due for another good breakout here, that 444. But also in that Darvis box, they show different kind of candlestick patterns. I took this trade 3 different times with these black crows and run it up to the top of the Darvis box and got out. I got in it again at the 3 black crows. Took it up to the top, took it up and sold it. And again, this is all off the 200 SMA. So I'm taking these trades off these black crows and run it up to the top of the Darvis box. Now I've done that 3 successful times within a month, within a very small period, 20 days, almost a month. Same as right here, you know. You can take them trades and run them up to resistance and keep going, but you need a pattern to develop before you can start trading in them boxes. But when they have the higher low, you know that's a good sign that she is going to extend on out. You didn't have that here. You had it right here, but it was in the 4 days. I mean, this was a great trade that I called. And then what really got this going, what really made this trade good, was the triple bottom in the Darvis box. So you look for patterns. That's what you're looking for. It doesn't matter on any flag, as long as there's a trend and a pattern inside of it, you can still play them. You know, I'm always bullish. I don't know if you don't, in my experience, but you know, if a stock's dipping, I'm still bullish on the stock because I'm looking for a good entry. So that's what you do with the box. And they say, hey Jim, can you pick up? I'll look at Tilray, Sue. Can you take a look at Tilray? I was looking at the pot stocks this weekend. The watch list is red. the watch list is horribly red. Let me see if I can find it here. I mean, this thing is just red as could be. So I started getting. I'm thinking about doing a video here after I get done, just on this sector alone, just to take a good look at it. I'm going to clean this Tilray up so I can see what I'm doing. I think earnings, Tilray down by 6%. Let's see what this news article says. Bearish wave dumps marijuana stock. Grow Generation, Sundial Growers, and Aurora Cannabis among the cannabis movers for today. Tilray down 6%. Well, I like Tilray. It's one of my favorites. And you can tell by the volume, gets the most attention. It's number one on my volume list. So I'm always looking at it. We definitely pulled back to a good support level here, to almost a double bottom. You know, the pivot point on this chart is somewhere right in here is your pivot point. So we're way below that area. I've traded this for a long time, so I kind of know this stock almost like the back of my hand. I would almost consider this area a pivot point area, a pivot point channel in here, if I was to look at it, with a low support triple bottom, and to be a triple bottom play. I gotta see if I gotta refocus on this one right here, see what I messed up at. Man, this looks real good. This looks real good. This is going to be like a channel of support right in here. We'll bring it down just a little bit. There you go. Remove that drawing and put this down here at the bottom of this candlestick. Whoops. This is my extended trend line method for the ones that don't know how I trade. I can use these same trend lines for years and years, but every once in a while I have to kind of clean them up. So I've probably been here before looking at this stock at 1276 to 1333, but what I'm seeing now is a descending pattern finding support. We had a little history of a high here. We consolidated right in here. So that little channel of support, that's pretty solid. In this trade, you could probably take it up to the 200 on the yearly. Right now we've got a death wish. That's not too good. So I think it'll probably go sideways, hit this bottom at 1276, and then try to break resistance at 1333. And then you have a hard resistance right here, right around the 1478. So if it reverses up from here with a higher low, which would be very bullish for the stock, a higher low. If it reverses up, comes in Monday, it starts to bounce up, you want to try to break 1478. If you can take it to that, I think you could easily run it up here to right around the 1670 area where we had the double top, and this could be poised for a triple top, and then that triple top will definitely become a hard resistance, because I can see it with this pullback right here, and I can see the two candlesticks that are poised right here. So that is definitely going to be a hard resistance at 1674. If you reversed here with a higher low, you'll definitely take it up, break 1478, 1536, $16, and then hard resistance at 1674. So yeah, keep an eye on this week. If it double touches the double bottom, take the trade. If we have a higher low, take the trade and run it up to at least 1478 and see if it breaks. Tilray, I like it. I like where it is. I like where Twitter kind of was, and okay. Much better. Very good. Romeo, please. Fell off the positive news and noticing that it isn't only a ticker following the positive news. Any ideas? RMO? I'll get Arizona. Hello, Shag Dog. Shane Dog. You got another question? Yeah, if it's an earnings play, be careful. I don't like the way earnings have been here lately. Usually out of the trade and see the response from earnings. That's what I've been getting into on them. I wish I'd have got in Disney when I called it out the other day, though. That one hurt. I didn't take the trade. It's what I heard about it. That would have been a nice trade. So let me see what's in the news here on Romeo. Romeo, how art thou? Romeo needs to see a bounce off support. Somebody says it needs to see it. So somebody's in the trade. Romeo shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a long-term supply agreement with LG. Ooh, that's a pretty big deal. That's big news. Susan, okay. Romeo Power, this is some news here, announces Susan Bringham as the new president and CEO. So they got a nice little female in there running the business the way it should be run, probably. Hats to her. They're changing the squad. That's what the problem. That's what the issue is, right? It's not really an issue. They got a new chief strategy officer. They got a new finance officer. They got a new CFO. Announces expansion of leadership. So that's a shakeup. That's called a shakeup. When I see a shakeup in a business, that's usually a good thing. That's usually a good thing, but the market hasn't took it as a good thing. So I think we're definitely poised for the rebound here. There definitely was a good volume spike on Friday. I wish I'd have known about this a little bit sooner. This descending pattern right here, that's called an inverse descending pattern. I mean, the thing touched down here at the bottom. You see that? Right there at 6. Oh man, this would have been a great trade. I gotta put this on my do watch list with a star next to it, because I like this one here. So I'm gonna put a support line right there at 661. I love that the 50's at the 777. Now I'm a gambling kind of guy, and when I see that don't come up very often. We're definitely going to break that resistance. That's a good luck charm there, Sue. How do you do now? There's your little pivot point area that you need to break. Resistance. Yeah, this is pretty easy to see. We're going to break this 50, and we're going to take it up to 940. And it's going to find a real hard resistance. And if it does break that 940, there's going to be a little aftershock of this nice little bounce. It might pull back a little bit Monday to a support level right here at 706. I like that 706 very much. So we want to put a red line right there. Now, for ones that haven't seen me trade a lot, you know my numbers are pretty tight. Pretty tight. Sometimes, when I got screwed up in plug last week, I jumped in plug, so we're going to talk about it. I don't know what happened there, but that sell-off was nasty. So 706 is going to be your solid support. Resistance to break is going to be right here come Monday. at 753. You can take it to 801 with the new management stuff. 868, and then hard resistance at 940. I think this big candle needs to pull back just a little bit, like I said, and then get in the trade and try to break that 50. That's going to be your resistance. We're going to use the moving average as a break. Right now it's set up for the sneaky snake. For the ones that don't know what the sneaky snake is, I'm going to show you right here. We're definitely set up to run. This is called sneaky snake. You find a trend. So we got a trend right here. You take it to that next candle right there, move her on down and move that to the right. So that's kind of like, once you get that little breakout, that initial breakout, and it breaks out of that box, that channel, that's usually a good start for me to take the trade. But if you're inexperienced and you're not used to these kind of breakouts and not seeing what they look like, you could have took maybe that next trade once it bounced above it. But the ideal entry is right here on the sneaky snake. It's when the 9 crosses that 21 SMA. That's the 9 EMA. Then you had the 3 white soldiers, and I talked about that extensively last Sunday and last week. Those 3 white soldiers is a continuation candle with a hammer. Bam! She runs on up. The exit is when they see that 9 to start curling down. But this is the second part for the continuation, is when the 9 and the 21 cross the 50. Then, of course, you get out when you see that 9 start to curl down and take your profit, wait. And here we are again. We're setting up. We've got this 9, 21, and the 50. And they're squeezing. They're getting real tight, like you see right here. So let's see if this thing pulls back to that support level at 661 and hold. If that holds, I think you have a good opportunity of taking this quad bottom. We kind of already had the bottom here. We touched down here once. This is what else I like about this right now. It found a solid support at 661. This is RMO. Pretty excited about this trade. I want to see it pull back to right around this first support, 706. Where are we? We're at 657. Oh shit. We pulled right back down. This is a great opportunity to take this trade. I guarantee this thing going to bounce up. If it pulls back any, I'm going to get in it and run it up. This is a descending pattern, but I think it's set up to move up to that 50. New management. We've got a shakeout. So I think this is a good opportunity. They've been in there for a while now. It's starting to squeeze. We have a little bit of divergence here, but she did pull back to that. I think they were just cashing in because of the big bounce. I think that support will hold, 661. RMO. Very good, Shane. Yeah, I think I trade that Darvis box probably different than other people do. Some people just trade it for the breakout. Some people just trade it for the breakout. I trade it within. I trade it if it breaks under it. I mean, here's another great example of the Darvis box that I traded, and I called this CHWY, Chewy. And there's another one too, Amazon. But Chewy. Chewy's had a hell of a breakout here, and it's the same kind of situation. We were in a big Darvis box on this thing, and I called this trade right here when we had this breakout right here back in this day here on earnings, and that thing just flew, and that was a nice paycheck. And I got out of that, and she kept dipping on down to that Darvis box. So you can play. I'm telling you, there's money to be made inside of it. There's money to be made outside of it. There's money to be made above it. I mean, this trade was just so delicious, and it still is. I mean, we need to consolidate to the right. And when I look at this trade now, like on Chewy, and I want to raise the bar. I want to raise the bar. It means I want to raise the next channel above this Darvis box. Tesla. Darvis box breaks out, another Darvis box. So that's what, when a stock breaks out of a Darvis box, breaks above it, starts to show some consistency, the same thing will happen. You'll have the same kind of build up. So I've played. If you've heard me here, I'm scalping Tesla. I got a long position at 630 that I got down here. I'm holding. Plus, all that time I'm still scalping this trade almost every day. We come in here Thursday and I didn't really pay much attention to it, but the guys got in here and they made profit. I got in here Friday by the seat of my pants, was able to get out of it with a small profit Friday. I mean, it was not easy, this trade here. I got in it and sold it at the 200. But there's another explanation of that Darvis box. And when I see a pattern form inside of the Darvis box, that's when I take the trade. I just don't take it on a limb. I got to have a reason. There's got to be a pattern. That means a candlestick pattern, a triple bottom, maybe bouncing off the 200. And every time frame is different with them moving averages. So don't get accustomed to one time frame. Move your time frames around, and you'll see what I'm saying on these moving averages. I use them in 3 different time frames. You can use them in any time frame you want as long as you get accustomed to that strategy. So that's Romeo. Awesome, thanks for explaining it out. Can you look at QRVO? Then I'm going to go over a few of my stocks if you want to stick around. Carvo and Company. So I got to figure out what this does. First I'm going to look at the yearly. Wow, pretty good little chart here. UBS raises price target on court to 210 from 204. Maintains a neutral rating. Morgan Stanley adjusts price target to 225, so they raise it. 200 from N85 by Susquehanna. JP Morgan raises it to 248. So everybody's raising this thing. Everybody's at Oppenheimer, 250. Rosenbelt, 215. Washboard Gym, 200. Oh! See all these idiots? They don't know where resistance is. I do. You know where it is? It's easy. 200. I'm raising the price target to $200. So what we have here is a trend. You see this trend line on the yearly? This is a good stock. So we're going to put the star on this one too. We've had my 5-day sell-off rule come into play. We're going to draw a trend line from here to right here. Move it to the right. Smack. Let me see, I got to adjust this. I don't think that's good enough. Let me put a... Damn it, Jim. Oh, that's pretty good. I'm taking this trend line from the bottom of that candle and I'm running it up to the bottom of these candles right here. Then I'm going to extend that out to the right. I want to get this real tight, if you know what I'm saying. Looks to me like it is extended to the right. Yeah. So we've got down below that. Right now this is still a bullish hammer. It stayed within the inside body of this candle right here. So we're going to draw a support line to the right of that. And I want to hold that support. So this is what you call an ascending triangle right here. And it's found support off that, dipping down a few times. I like the higher lows, and I think this was just market conditions, but it held steady at that support for 2 days. We do have the sneaky snake coming down a little bit. I just think it's squeezing because we have had a pretty good little 5-day sell-off here, and my 5-day rule goes into effect. Usually, you know, after about 5 days, we get a pretty nice little bounce. So my resistance level, I said 200. I'm going to adjust the hard resistance here at 191. And I'm going to take it right up here to right around the 195. And then a solid resistance right around 197.47. So all these pumpers out here, Rosenbelt, Morgan Stanley, and Oppenheimer, and Oracle, and UBS, they're all wrong. The closest one is this Sasquatch. So always believe in Bigfoot, because Sasquatch is the Bigfoot. And he says, or she says, if it's a mistress, at 200, and I'll take that. That's probably the decent, the most reliable of all them pumpers. This one here, I would say, is not pumping the stock. They know what they're talking about. Definitely 200. So definitely take it, run it up to resistance at 191. I guarantee you'll get there. I guarantee it. And then ride it up to 195 and start thinking about exiting the trade. Step 1, step 2, and step 3, exit. It's a nice trade right here. So we got Tilray Romeo and QRVO on watch with Twitter. And, you know, I'd almost put V in there. I'm going to put V in there too. Visa. Verizon. Okay. I'll listen to Jim and Bigfoot. Can you go over the weekly option on how you come up, which one to take? Which stock, Steve? If I was going to look, okay, let's say QRVO. Is that what you're asking, Steve? Good job, Sue. You noticed the double bottom. Did you see any black crows today? Okay, we're going to look at this QRVO for an option play and just see what's going on here. Now, you know what? I think I'd want to take this like in September. Let's look at the this is this week. So we're not going to trade that one. We want to move out a little bit farther. We want to give us some time. So we got a month for September. I would want to be closest to the money as I could be in this trade, or even in the money. But for right now, we're down here at the bottom. I have two criteria I'd want to meet. The 190 strike, but you have a lot more open interest at the 195, probably because it's a little bit cheaper. So you have the two choices, the 190 or the 195 or the 200. All three of them I think would be a good choice. Depends on how much you want to throw in it. I personally like to be closer to the money, and I'll like buy one, and then if it dips a little bit, I'll add on to it. That's the way I trade. I'm not a hunter, and I've been doing options for a year and a half now, and I only trade them one way, and that's calls and puts, mostly calls. But my strategy for now, that basically is the billionaire strategy, is buy when you think you're ready to get in the trade, and if it dips, just add on one more. Because I think we're at a solid support on this stock, and I like QRVO, and I know it's going to go to 200. Pretty sure of it in a long time. You could even go farther out, you know. But, you know, so I'd take the 190 personally, or the 195. I wouldn't go any lower than that. And if it started moving up, maybe I would add a 200 to it if the stock went up, moved up. But I want to be closest to in the money as I can, and I at least need a month time frame, because if it does dip, it won't dip down that hard on you compared to if you buy it within a week, where you have a lot of volatility in the price. The open interest, though, right now is at 195. I personally would take the 190 to be closer to the money. That's one of them. Romeo, we're at that bottom. RMO. We just had earnings, it looks like. So, you know, I'll be looking at the September 17th on this one too. And I would easily jump in this trade, no problem, right here at $7. I'd take that $7, or I'd even jump in at $6, you know, and buy a contract at $6 even. You know, I'd be happy taking the $6. But open interest again, they're liking that $7. You know, it's a cheap price. I'd load up probably 10 of them, maybe 5, and if it dipped on me, I'd buy 5 more. Yep. Open interest is closer to the money. That's exactly what I'm looking at. So we have any more we want to look at before I go over my watch list? Okay. We're going to go over mine here, and then we're going to call it a day. I forgot what I called it now. What did I call this thing? There it is. So I was one of my scanners that I have here on let me see here. One of my scanners I have on here is called Buzzing Around, and I've noticed this scanner quite a bit. Check and see why these things are filling up. McDonald's is moving up. So I went to like the last trading day. We're gonna pull up the history on this thing. And I started jotting down some of these tickers that are in here. That includes the red ones, some of the red ones, and some of the green ones that I kind of like. But I noticed on this scan that a lot of these stocks in here are real popular stocks, and they're movers. And they've got people's attention. Like Microsoft had that nice little, called that Microsoft breakout way before it happened. I'll show you how I called it and why I called it. So let's pull up the chart here. Tesla's getting ready to break out again. So this has been I've done very well with this stock here since I've called it out down at the bottom. I mean, I've really done well. And I think with this new trading strategy that I'm doing, it's a lot simpler. It's a lot easier. What was I doing? Microsoft. And it's patience. I mean, it's all it amounts to is patience. If you just have a little patience and you keep a good watch list, And but this one here was setting up an ascending triangle. I mean, and it also had kind of like the Darvis box going on. And I started noticing these higher lows here at the end. Then I noticed that we've hit this resistance level quite a bit at 290.38, and it just didn't want to break. Then I seen this big old engulfing candles coming in on this day, and I said, "There's the institutions wanting in this trade, or somebody wants this trade bad." And then she broke and bounced up off that 21 EMA. Sneaky snake was right in here, and I called this sucker out. I wish I'd have took that trade too. I had a support. I wanted to get a little cheaper. Probably was too tight with that call right there. I should have just took the trade and run it up. But we had a Darvis box. Inside of it, we had an ascending triangle. And again, I'm saying look for them patterns. Look for those higher lows. If you notice something, if you notice them higher lows, is the making of an ascending triangle, and the same thing happened right here. We kept holding them higher lows. And so this keeps you in the trade. Many times you could have got in a sneaky snake there. We had the sneaky snake right there. That's when the 921. Very positive when that 50 is above the 200. That's a bullish pattern. Many times on the sneaky snake, these are all in reverse. You have the 9, the 21, the 50, and the 200. But for here, you've been bouncing off that 200. So that was a real solid buy right there to take that trade. And I called it out on that day, and I should have took it. And she ran up. I kept saying, "Man, we're sending triangle. It's got to break out. It's got to break that. Got to break it." Bam! Friday, she broke it. I was another trade that, shoulda, woulda kind of attitude happens. But yeah, that's Microsoft. So let's go ahead and talk about. That's how I created this watch list. There are stocks that I like. Johnson & Johnson was another good one last week. I always like to take the volume high and look at them. Someone wanted me to talk about PLTR, so we're going to go ahead and talk about it. PLTR had them good earnings. So, okay. This is a company that I've not been too excited about. Not the fact that it's a good company, just because of the CEO doesn't turn me on at all. But, he still has nice hair. That's what someone told me on StockTwits the other day, and I said, "Oh, you're right about that. Kind of looked like Einstein's hair." He reminds me of Jack on Twitter. If Jack didn't run Twitter, or if he didn't have the visual presence on Twitter, that Twitter would be worth a couple $100. But you got a flag right here on PLTR. I think we're gonna build a higher support level. So we're going to get out of this area that we've been stuck in for such a long period of time. It's had real nice runs. Kathy Woods is totally invested in it. I think we're going to bring this back up. I got up here. I've got PLTR triple top, 2741 hard resistance, and we hit that. See that 2741? The pivot point on this stock I have in here is at 2414. And I don't know when I put this in here, if it was Friday or Thursday, but I've been talking about it and trying, have people not get stuck in the trade. But we do have the sneaky snake going on, and we also have a death wish going on. But I like it. I'm positive on this stock right now compared to what I've been in the past. So let's magnify this up just a little bit. PLTR. pulls back to support level. This is a nice little breakout hammer right here. We could find support somewhere down here at the bottom of 24.42 between these two trend lines. PLTR, it's a bullish trade right now. So somewhere in here is your support level. The bottom of this candle to right in here. You got 3 different supports. So I'm going to color that in. If it does pull back, it'll be a strong buy at 23.65. I'd like to see 24.45 hold. 24.45 is your first support. Your second one's going to be 24.14. And then the strong buy is going to be between the channel of 23.65 and 23.87. Take that to the bank. What I want to do is I want to build. We're going to go up. Probably the momentum is behind this. There's so many people that are stuck in this trade that they're just. I call it the what do I call it? Charles Manson clan. What do you call them? When them people, cult. Cult. This is a cult stock. This is a stock that's at support and it wants to break out. The earnings were better than expected. Is the only reason I like this trade right now. Not the fact that I can't stand the CEO, but the fact that it is a momentum play right now, and I think you are going to get it up, and she is going to bounce up, and she's going to find that hard resistance at 27.41 and probably pull back. So that's where I would take the trade to a double top. If it breaks, fine. If it doesn't, it'll pull back to support. But we're going to build a new we're building out of this, and we're going to create a new channel to the side. I don't know if that makes any sense, but what I'm seeing is a hard resistance is this right in here. Right now I'm seeing it. And I hate it when I do that, because I'll probably never see it again. I'll never get that right number. Right there. 25 bucks. That's what you need to break. You see what I'm saying? Right in here. We pulled back right in here. We've got some resistance right in here. So we break 25. I guarantee it, you'll get it up here to 26 and maybe run it up here to 27.50. That's your next hard resistance. So there's your supports. We're going to build it above this box. Keep that 200 on the daily. Be sure to have that 200 SMA on there. This can bounce off that 200 and start going sideways, and then bam. I mean, this has got the momentum behind it. It's got the traders behind it. It's got some good earnings. I can't say anything else. That I'm going to have to turn the page here and pull a Bob Seagram and say Jim's got a different attitude on PLTR for the first time in almost a year. Or 6 months, or 3 months. Ever since I've been complaining. Ever since he had that interview on CNBC, this is what it's done. It was a shitty interview. That's the only reason it tanked. It was up here at the high. He told millions of people that his stock was not worth buying. He actually said that on CNBC, and I'm going, you are an idiot. So here we are now. I think we're reversing, and we're going to get back up to that top. I think that sentiment will go away now, but I'm a very few that picked up on that. Everybody else was still bullish on it, buying it when every dip it had, and I said I'm waiting because that interview sucked. That was the worst interview I've ever heard any CEO ever make. Yep. Yep. everybody likes the stock, so I got to have a different attitude, right? That's another thing that I think that traders do is they get burnt on a stock, or they fall in love with a stock and then they get burnt on it. So you gotta position yourself to where you have an open mind. I've let some of that bias get into trades that I've took before, and it was a big mistake. But the only stock I love is Tesla. I will always love that stock, and I'm going to start liking this one again because, like I said, it's got three good things going for it now. People are stuck in this trade. I mean, it's got a cult following. Kathy Woods is piling in it, so everybody else has got a pile in it. And that's another thing that I don't appreciate with these billionaire fat cats, is they're manipulators of a trade. Doesn't matter how good the stock is or how bad. Once they're in the trade and it goes down on them, they just keep piling money, billions. If I had that kind of money, I could sit and pick any stock in the world and become a winner. And that's it. I mean, the more money you have, the easier it is to make. If you never heard of that in business, I started a business with hardly any money. Still took some. I opened up a picture frame shop with no money, but I didn't borrow it. What I did is I went in, when I was going to college, I had to have an internship, and I had experience in picture framing. And my business idea back then was to own and operate a picture framing business after I got out of college, so I worked for this lady. I went in there and I asked her, I said, I'll work for you for free if you let me be your intern. Give me an internship. And she was all for it. So I went in there, busted my ass for like 6 months, and she started going blind. She started losing her eyesight, and she told me, I said, I'll take it over from you. I've worked for you for 6 months for free, and I know you're in debt by at least 25 grand in this business, and I'm willing to take on that debt and pay it off. And you can walk away with no worries. And she thought about it, and 2 days later she said, Jim, it's yours. So I took Picture Frames Plus from making maybe about 5 grand, maybe about, I think it was like 2,500 a month to almost 7,000 a month, and then it got up to 10, then it got up to 15, and I'm going, then I end up selling it and becoming a picture frame manager in Springfield, Missouri. But it takes money. Billionaires, they have pretty much made, they Warren Buffett, I mean, he kept buying IBM. IBM, it was his favorite stock, and IBM was probably the worst company out there to be invested in at the time, because it wasn't well managed, in my opinion, and it dipped, and he lost on it. He's lost on many trades, but the trades he's won, he's kept forever, and he just kept piling on. Every time they dip, he just adds on. He's not good at new startups, he turned down Tesla at $57 and went to 2,200. He turned down a lot of good companies, a lot of innovation. He's into stocks that are mortgage stocks, they're home building stocks, real estate, shit like that. He's not into buying tech stocks, and he's boasting about a 23% gain in his stocks in a market that if he would have sat there and bought some of these tech stocks, he'd be up thousands of percentages. So, he's a conservative trader. That's the way the billionaires are. Kathy Woods, same way. She's a crappy trader, but she just keeps piling on, and she makes a lot of money. I've got in stocks that she's sold, and they've actually run up pretty dang good. If she'd just held them, I would love to be her chartist. So let's go over this watch list and see if there's anything else. Look at TWLO. ACY, what drives this ticker pump? Let me look. Let me look at TWLO and then look at TWO from 2000 and then look at PLTR now. We'll look at it in 2020. God. Man, oh man. Well, that'd have been a nice one. Even before the COVID thing. Then when COVID hit, bam. Earnings ain't that hot. Earnings really not been good at all on this stock, especially last quarter. Negative 11. That's our first negative since this day right here, back in 1/1/18, when the stock finally took off. Negative quarter there, then positive. Not very much gain. And then it has a big loss. No really gain. I mean, it's all stayed at 3 to 4 to 5 cents per share. And then you got a big loss. So this stock's going to come back down to this here area. This is going to be one to watch. TWLO. I'm going to put an alert right here. Earnings were bad. So that's going to be my idea of entry. I'm going to raise it up just a little bit. There we go. I'll take it to that candle. 350 area. Set an alert at 350 on TWLO. Yeah, I agree. It's a good stock, Shane. The only reason it's down is because of what he said. And I think it's been long enough. It's been, what, 3 or 4 months since he's opened his mouth? Not had an interview, so. I just don't like that guy. I'm sorry. He upset me. I'm a business owner. I would never talk like that about my company. But you're right, it's poised to break out. It's got everything going for it. Popularity, the cult following, Kathy Woods throwing tons of money in it. We're at a bottom. It's set up. I mean, if you want to go long in the stock, you had your chance last week. It pulls back again, you have another chance to get back in the trade for a good year, maybe 2. You'll get a good bounce on it. I'm sold on that. 10x, Shane. I hope you don't get mad because I dog your business there. Every time I dog it on Stock Twits, oh boy, guys, last week, well, you're going to get hell for that. I said, yeah, probably. So let's go over these here. PLTR we did. And I'm going to call it a day. So I'm bullish on PLTR, don't take me wrong. Big extension, we got a good pennant flag here. If it gets down to the buy zone, I'm back in the trade. I'll definitely get, well, I think the sentiment's kind of over with now. I got a bit different attitude about it. I'll get in this trade big time at 23.65. In fact, I think I am in the trade. Got to go look at my other account, but I might be in this trade. Because that flag's looking nice. You're definitely going to get it up here and break that resistance level. You see this resistance at 25, this here, 25.71? That's what you got to break. Bam! Okay, let's go over this little stock list and then we're going to call it quits. I hope everybody enjoyed this. You know, I just kind of playing around looking at stocks that you like, and we're going to go over my little watch list here. Then I'm going to call it a day. So we did PLTR. I'm bullish on it. And I think I've got an entry. I got to look at my other account, but I think I'm in this trade. PFE, another good one. It's in a bullish run. Sympathy to mRNA. We got a. I think this thing is going to go to 50 and maybe higher. It'll play. People are going to take their money out of mRNA, throw it in Pfizer. So support level on this stock is going to be this previous high, and that's right at 48.22 for the entry. If not, she'll pull back to its lower support off the 21. As long as she holds that 9, we're still bullish. If she drops below the 9, we'll go to the 21 for a second support. And that's going to be right here, right around 47.84. Strong buy in this lower support channel. And that's PFE. Microsoft, we've had a nice break. I want to take this to 200 and run it up to 200 and then start to pull back. She'll probably be shy at 200 and then pull back to the 290 and create a new Darvis box to the side. You've got a Darvis box breakout here on the 20-day, and I think we'll do the same. This one's still, I called this out at 150, said it was undervalued. We're up 140 bucks now, so we're priced in. I think we're priced in. The next one, VIAC, we're pulling back to the sneaky snake. I want to see it hold this 38.92 and then start to curl back up. Find some resistance right here, right around 39.93 area, somewhere in there. Uber's poised for a 5-day sell-off. I think we found support at 42.10. If that holds, that'd be great. I'll run it up, try to break the 200 on the 20-day 1 hour. Long, 45 bucks. Strong buy here at 41.50. I called this trade out here when this had this knife. This is the inverse head and shoulders. The way you play these trades on an inverse is you draw a trend line from here to here. You follow that trend. Once that head and shoulders breaks, you get in the trade. But I'll tell you what, I took the trade down here, bam. I mean, not down here, but I would have took the trade that opening day. This was overdone. But we're in COVID times right now, so we just got to kind of be patient with this and watch it. Don't take the trade yet. Wait for the reversal. When she does reverse, hard resistance at that 200 on the 20-day 1 hour. Boeing had good news in China. It had a nice trend, run up. She's pulled back into a bull flag. Support level here at 233.24 to hold. If not, it'll bounce the third time off this 200, and then you'll be a good spot to get in this trade. Wait for that 200 on the hour and see if it holds. 20-day 1 hour. I love that 200. I talked about it last Sunday. I can take this 200 and make a trade on about any stock. All I need is one line. There's your one line of resistance. Here's your one line of support. Johnson & Johnson, another good one. It's been running. It's a sympathy play, I think, to mRNA. mRNA's poised to pull back. These are poised to move up. All it is a switch around, switcheroo. Starbucks, great run on this one here. You can tell it was manipulated on the run. She's pulled back to support. I called out a 116. We bounced up off of it. I want to take this trade if it pulls back to that 116 again and get in it and run it up to the 200 on the hour, 20-day 1 hour. It's so easy. You don't have to make this hard. Use that 200 as a resistance line. Use that 200 as a support line on the 20-day 1 hour. Guaranteed it works. Bam, smack, bang. Bam, smack, bang. This is a pocket pivot. Pocket pivot. That's when a pocket pivot breaks to 50, and then you're on up. You move up. This is sneaky snake trade, and we're going to have set up here for another sneaky snake trade. And I guarantee it, this double bottom on the snake is going to run up if we create a higher low and break this resistance. We got to break this resistance of 1767. If not, she'll pull back. I like this trade, Starbucks. It's setting up for another pocket pivot. If we break that 50 on up, we're going to definitely get up here to the resistance level of the 200. And then, I mean, look at here. Bam, bam, bam. Triple top, couldn't do it. Pulled back. Next time it comes up, we'll have that breakout we're looking for. Starbucks is hot on the list. PayPal, another good one. We pulled back to the buy zone. If we pull back in, we're back in that buy zone. We take it and it runs and breaks this resistance here on the 20, on the 200, on the 1 hour. She'll run up and get back. This one's definitely bullish. Insider buyers are going on. So keep a good eye on PayPal. You're in a good position for this trade to run back up to right around 200 bucks. Guaranteed. This is a strong stock. Snow, been on a tear. Called this one out in Sneaky Snake, and she's done nothing but run up. She's poised to use that 200 as a support level, as you can see. I love my 200. I talk about this 200 more than any trader out there. You can't find a trader that doesn't talk about it as much as I do. The sucker works, I'm telling you. Keep an eye on that 200 hour on your stocks. The Sneaky Snake will work every time it touches it. 1. In 20 days, snow. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Sneaky Snake, Sneaky Snake, Sneaky Snake, Sneaky Snake. Check it out. I love this stock. But, I mean, now we're up here. It's getting a little scary. Roku's set up. We got step 1, 2, and 3. I'm in this trade. I think we're going to reverse up, but we got to see. With the extra COVID cases and winter coming on, Roku is poised to run up. Step 1, step 2 of consolidation, and step 3 for exit. Maybe I can take it up to this 200 at 410 and call it quits. This is going to be a good bounce trade. Keep an eye on Roku. Shoe Dog, Nike called it out at 140, 136. That was cheaper than that. Let me look back here. It was down here in this area. When I was debating this girl about it, she said she wasn't bullish on it because of that dark pool. I said, you got to be nuts. This stock was poised to reverse. Look what happened. Dark pool said no. I said yes. Bam. I don't trust the dark pool as far as I can throw it. Home Depot, we're poised to bounce off this 21. I think the 21 can break resistance level of 337. Home Depot, people are going to be restoring their homes. Take it off the 21. Find a resistance up here right around 337 to break. McDonald's. McDonald's is our kind of place. It like this 233, but we're definitely up in resistance zone. This is a sell area. Wait for the pullback. It could bounce off this 234 area and find resistance at 240. But I definitely like this channel to stay in here. And business is going to start picking up again. But as I say, people are not eating out as much because of COVID. This new COVID strain sounds bad. I don't pay much attention to it. But when they start calling in the National Guard, the hospitals, I have to kind of show some kind of concern. Oregon, of all places, you know, they let that city run wild during all them riots for about 6 months, 7 months. They're the one. They can blame themselves for the stupidity of how they run that city. So I used to live there. I went to school there. I loved Portland. I would never move back. Never. I'd rather move to Hawaii. So that's McDonald's. It's not my kind of place. How did it get off my little scan here? I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not. So I got Snow, Roku, Nike, Home Depot, McDonald's, and Spotify. Here's another one that's ready. Get ready, folks. This is going to be a nice trade to take and reverse up. We've got a double bottom on the 3-month. I think she's ready to take the trade and run it up at least a good 30, 40 bucks. Keep a good eye on Spotify. It's ready to reverse. I'm going to get in this trade come Monday. What options will I look at? Let's take a look. I really like this stock. I want to go out a month. Let me see, where's it at? I thought I had that chart up here. Oh, I did. Yeah, I'd take the 230 strike. That's what I'd take right there. I'd take the 230 strike at 340, come in Monday, and this thing will be up in the money up here, and you should be able to get a good 200% out of it real easy on Nike. I mean on Spotify. I really like this stock. It is definitely ready. I mean real ready. When I say that, I mean that. GD, here's another one. I have to say 195 is a good spot for this one right here to take the trade. But we'll just have to see. I'm going to set an alert right there, a little bit above it, for the pullback. That's it. That's it for the watch list. I'm going to be watching next week. Monday. I'm going to pick 5 stocks out of this pile, and I'm going to do a video on 5 stocks in this pile next week every night. So I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button, that bell, be notified of these upcoming videos. So we've got hot stocks are going to be RMO, QRVO, Twitter, V, Spotify, PLTR, and Twitter are the ones we're going to be watching. And Tesla, PayPal. That's it. Make sure I got PayPal in here. Yeah, Tesla. Okie dokie. Sorry if I sound a little harsh on the old guy from PLTR, but I have a change of attitude now. I'm in it, and I'll be playing it. I think we can run this up long, long, long. In fact, we're down here. I'll even go out on a limb. I'll go out on a limb. January the 21st. Be looking at the 25 strike at 330. Okay? That will be the trade to take. PLTR. 25 strike. I'm going to get in this one Monday, January 21. I think that's a good one. Hey, what do you think about that, Shane? I'm behind you, my friend. I'll be your cheerleader. I'll put a video out on it even today. How's that grab you? And I'll be positive about it. And I'll even say that I French kissed the CEO. So I think that's it for the Sneaky Snake. I hope we enjoyed it. And see you Monday. I'm going to put a couple more videos out. You're welcome, Kevin. We're going to be putting this strategy together. I about got it down on the time frames on this Sneaky Snake for long swings. I think PLTR is going to be added to that list of Sneaky Snake long swings, at least into January, and maybe might pile up pretty good on it, you know, by about a couple $1,000 worth of it. 5 contracts at least. If it pulls back, it gives me a good entry. So this is Aloha from Missouri, and I wish everybody a great weekend. I'm gonna go out and lay in the sun, take a little dip in the pool. And let me see if I can pull up a little video in here to close it out with. I'm going to look at Myrna. I did this a day ago. If you ever watch any of the videos, hit that like button. I want to build these. I want to build that up to 1,000. I got 839 followers on here now. And then I'll decide what I want to do next. So we're going to pull up this mRNA, means I didn't talk about it. I did this video the other day on the 14th. That was yesterday. And I think it's going to pull back a little bit, but we'll see here. I'm going to turn this up. Then I'll be done. Retail traders, I want to talk about mRNA. A great call all the way up and a great call on the way down. So we're going to go ahead and go straight to the chart. And I've got kind of a support channel here. I've got steps 1, 2, and 3. We hit the exit zone up here right around 497. And the new buy zone is a little bit above 358.58. We have an ascending triangle to hold as support. I think it will come back down, but we did find some solid support here at the top of that channel at 385.29. So if this thing breaks on down below that, I mean, we could be squeezing out and start finding a solid support between this 385 area all the way up to about 409, somewhere in that area, and that's what needs to break to get it up to zone 3, which is a hard resistance at 431.91. But if this thing pulls back, I think they still want it to pull back a little bit more. I'm going to be looking at that 359 area for a solid buy, and then run it all the way back up to around 384. So I've been playing the 420, the 400, and the 420 strikes, and the 350 put on this trade alone. So I wish everybody a great day, and just keep a good eye on mRNA. And you know, SAVA, S-A-V-A, had a good run also. It was in my Sneaky Snake trading strategy. I'm starting to develop, this month I've been working on a strategy to prolong my swing trades, and it's setting up pretty good. I'm using the Sneaky Snake strategy that I've developed, and I don't know, probably other people probably use it, but it seems like I developed it here, and I really like it. It's moving average and trend. So I've been following the trends. Trend trader and technical trader, and please subscribe, ring that bell for future updates, and I'll be putting out some more videos. So we have a low support, like I said, here at 359, and the first one here is at 385.29. Resistance to break 409.63 to 431.91. And I wish everybody a great day. mRNA. Subscribe, ring that bell so you get them notifications of my videos. I'm also live every day for a short period of time teaching my strategy, and that's what we're doing here. Have a great day.